But
I'd like to see that come in the mail, yeah.
So you see, if you check your heat pump, check your hot water heater, change your lights, it's a big savings right there.
Absolutely, that
Big
would
savings.
be. So if I want to set my my heating or air there on 76,
76.
that's going to potentially minimize or reduce my the 40% of my bill.
Yes.
I mean, that could have a real impact.
Real impact.
And then if I set the hot water heater on 120 degrees.
Yes.
Versus it may be on, I don't even
150.
know. Is that right?
I've seen those.
On 150.
Yes.
Now, of course, when you go in as or formally in your
Right.
position as an energy specialist, I mean, there's some, it's a little tricky oftentimes getting into the hot water heaters. You want to be careful. Are there certain techniques that you had to learn when you were going into homes? Or
Well, no,
messing with
actually, the hot
people's-
water heater is pretty simple. Just making sure you adjust both thermostats. I always mention
Right.
some folks will just adjust the upper thermostat, but it's either it will be it will have the panel will list either 120, 130, 150, or it will say ABC, low, medium, high.
Right.
Obviously, on the lowest setting, typically to the left, is where you want to set the hot water heater. But just you unscrew the plates, adjust your thermostat, and then put them back on.
That is wonderful.
Yeah, so it's very easy to do that the average person could handle.
You were doing that for a number of years then,
Oh, yes.
Sherry.
Yes.
Yeah. And you all have folks spread out all over your service area.
We do.
Do you interface much with, and I think you pointed out before we started filming, and I know your former chairman of the board there and CEO Graham Edwards, who's been with us, had highlighted that a number of times, that you all serve a lot of the, if not all, of the co-ops throughout the state?
All the co-ops throughout the state, 18 co-ops participate
18.
With Santee Cooper, and we all have an excellent relationship with them.
Do they also have energy specialists, or do you all interface with them to get energy specialists out?
I'm not
Right.
sure if they
Not
do.
sure.
I think some do.
Sure.
But I just know that Santee Cooper believes that one-on-one interaction is very important with the customer.
Which is critical.
Yes.
It really is. When you think about folks, and again, if someone wanted to call the 347-3399 number,
Correct.
or visiting santeecooper.com to see, they could learn about energy specialists there online as well.
Correct, yes.
Good,
Yes.
good. You know, we think about the focus, we've got 7 or 8 minutes here, when we think about the focus on energy efficiency and obviously the environment and the future ahead, some of the critical things that you're pointing out inside the house can really have an impact as well.
It can. I tell you, we're at a very challenging time facing us, a lot of growth in our state. And Santee Cooper is committed to providing the electricity for our customers that need the electricity. However, we strongly emphasize to conserve electricity and to participate in green power programs. They're very, very important for the future of our state.
Does Santee Cooper encourage folks to look at auxiliary generators or generators to help back up if anything was ever to happen? Not that it does, but we think about hurricane-prone areas along the coast. Is that something?
If you do, be very, very careful and cautious and operate them with health issues in mind and danger issues. Read all your information. But our commercial customers, we do have a generator program for them.
Is that right?
We certainly do. And you can call that same number to get that information.
Good, okay. But that is not something that's available to residential customers. They need to go out on their own.
Correct.
And I'm sure probably want to think about hiring a licensed person to come in and help them install.
I would expect they'd want someone very familiar with generators to install them.
Right. You mentioned the tremendous growth in the state and the impact that'll have on all the power companies that serve the state, but particularly on Santee Cooper. What are some of the ways that that's going to impact you all?
Obviously, we need to keep up with the growth. I think that the last numbers I had, 10% growth throughout the state by the year 2010. So it's very important that we keep up with the generation, and very important that we still focus on conservation and green power.
Is Santee Cooper involved at all in taking some lines from above ground to underground? Is that something you're familiar with, Sherry? I know it's outside of the green power, your position as green power coordinator, but...
well, I do know that several areas, City of Myrtle Beach, various cities throughout the Orange-Georgetown County areas have taken the power lines underground.
Right.
And I think the primary reason for that is for during hurricanes.
Sure.
So that they will have less power, less outages.
So that's not something that really makes a difference in power, providing power, whether it's above ground or below ground.
Correct. A lot of the newer communities have the above or below ground service. The newer communities do. They prefer that.
You know, when you think about green power and all the ways, are there other parts of the country that have really wrapped around
yes.
the green power push?
It's nationwide, actually. I think there's I can't remember the last numbers I had, but there's like 30 states that are very involved in it, and especially out in California. Green power is renewable energy, of course, like I mentioned earlier, generated through methane gas at a landfill, which is what we primarily use here, solar panels, and wind energy. And of course, out west, there's a lot of wind energy. I mean, folks are probably familiar with the wind turbines.
Yeah, sure, Palm Springs and places like that, sure.
And we've just recently joined with the universities to Clemson and Coastal Carolina to look at some of that, the wind research for this area along the coast, see if that's something that we can do in this area. But we're always looking at other ways to produce green power.
Santee Cooper obviously partnered with the Solid Waste Authority here in Horry County, and the other 3 areas that you talked about, the green power production. Who were some of the folks you teamed up with there? Did you team up with co-ops, or any of them were commercial folks to actually produce the green power in those other 3 communities?
I'll tell you, our green power partners and our green power participants, residential and commercial, is what keeps the green power program going.
Great.
And without participation, we wouldn't have green power. So that's why we encourage our customers to get involved. Call that number, get involved with the green power program so that we can make a future.
That is wonderful, Sherry. Absolutely. What are some tips to help protect the environment as we roll into the summertime?
Yes.
Or is there anything, of course, you highlighted some great things about conserving inside the home. We've got a few minutes, and I'm sure a lot of folks would like to think about some ways that they could help protect the environment on their own if they're not in a position now to get involved with the Green Power program.
Exactly. I would strongly recommend recycling. Recycling. A lot of recycle centers are very easy to use. For example, my home, I have 4 different cans in my pantry. I separate my garbage right there, and once a week, I take it to the recycling center. And it's very easy to do. Anyone can do it. And if you realize the impact that you're making, you feel good about it. You really do. How
does that work exactly? Just the basic about, for viewers who may not be familiar with recycling, when you break it up into 4 bins.
Okay, that's a good question.
How is that
well, you have one bin for your plastic, your glass, and your cans.
Right.
One bin for your newspapers.
Right.
And then one for your cardboard. Separate it that way, and then when you go to the recycling center, you simply untie your bag and put it in the various containers that are labeled with those contents.
Okay.
Yes.
So
easy to do.
That sounds very easy, and probably something, I guess folks will pick it up even if you're in a city, oftentimes where they come by to pick up the trash.
Some of the larger cities do.
I know the city of Myrtle Beach, there on the street, they will come by and pick up the recycled stuff ahead of time.
Right.
Separately. What are some other tips that viewers may be interested other than recycling here in the summertime as we roll out into June, July? It's going to be a hectic summer for Santee Cooper, I'm sure, and all the co-ops throughout the state.
I think the main thing is it would be energy conservation for the summer tips I would give. But environmental issues would be the recycling, and then energy-saving tips that I've given earlier that are provided on our website as well.
Okay, good.
I would recommend following those through the summer to stay cool, comfortable, and reduce the usage.
So if a viewer was to visit santeecooper.com, there's also some great, for your new updated website from a month ago, some great information there. You know, as you think back about joining Santee Cooper 9 years ago, Sherry, what's been the most exciting aspect for you of being involved with this tremendous company? Oh,
yes, it's a fantastic company. I would say the people that I've met have been just fantastic, and of course the knowledge that I've obtained, phenomenal. I'm real impressed with what's come about, where Santee Cooper's going, and I'm proud to be associated with the company.
And something that really sticks out in your mind there when you think about the knowledge. I mean, you know, as you thought prior to joining the company, probably walking in a room and flipping on the light switch and thinking, golly, what would happen if the light didn't turn on?
Never thought about that. Yeah. For example, when I first came to Santee Cooper, I had no idea what a heat pump was. That's a long time ago.
Absolutely.
A lot of learning to go through.
That is wonderful, Sherry. And again, if a viewer was interested in joining the Green Power movement, they could obviously call any number, but the 347-3399 number, or visit your website.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Today.
Very definitely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People in the Green Power program with Sherry Coleman coming up next. If you want to learn some tips to help protect the environment, the number's simple, 347-3399. The website, equally simple, santeecooper.com. If you want to pick up some tips on conserving energy, Pick up the phone, 347-3399. Any of the tremendous customer service reps or otherwise at this phone number, 347-3399, or the website. You heard Sherry talk about just a month ago, they took the new website live, a lot happening. You heard it say it. You want to keep up with what's happening. 347-3399 or santeecooper.com, or if you want to learn about green power. What's it all about? If you haven't been with us the last 25 minutes and you're just tuning in right now, go online to santeecooper.com or pick up the phone, 843-347-3399. Santee Cooper's making a difference every day.